Hi, I'm Ruth and I'm a professional triathlete. This is going to be the start of my pro triathlon career. Thought I'd give you guys a bit of an insight into the transition from age group to pro, I guess some of the challenges, where it's different, how life's changed and I've become pro.
My name's Will Clark. I've been coaching Ruth for the past 6 years, and how would I best describe Ruth? Well, R for reliable, U for unshakable, T for tenacious, and H for hungry.
So I got to know Ruth last year through the Swift Tri Academy, and what can I say? She's awesome. She has big smile, big personality, and really big watts. Like, really big. She's going to be a handful for a lot of the pros, men and women combined.
Ruth is such an inspiration. She is an amazing athlete, a wonderful person, always super upbeat, and really motivates people who are starting out in this world.
Ruth, what is Ruth? Ruth is fast, considering she seems to be completely addicted to chocolate and gin. Sleep deprived, pretty good athlete, alright person, good baker, pretty good mischief considering how hard she trains. Ta-da!
I've always been quite sporty. I mainly played hockey all throughout school and university. I was never actually very skillful. I basically just ran around a lot and sort of used my run fitness and managed to kind of blag my way into some better teams than I think I should have been in, just because I like to run quite a lot. That kind of gave me, I guess, that taste for being competitive and having kind of competitions and trying to get better. And I tried quite a few different sports. I tried a bit of rowing, I tried a bit of rugby, definitely some embarrassing rugby photos of me somewhere. Generally just, I liked being around other people doing sporty things and keeping fit. Then when I started work in London, didn't really want to be travelling out of London to play hockey. I'd probably reached about the limit of what I could do in terms of my skill level. I was actually training for the Berlin Marathon at the time. At work, someone sort of said, oh, we've got a spare place at the London Triathlon. Do you want to come and give it a go? And I'd started doing just like a little bit of cycling, so I've got cousins that are quite keen cyclists. Went and did this first triathlon, which was Olympic distance. Quite fun, I quite enjoyed it. I kind of did reasonably well, which also helped. Thought this could be something quite good to get into actually, so I signed up to my local tri club and it all kind of went from there. Then I started hearing about, oh, you can go and do like the sort of GB age group stuff. I was like, well, that sounds really cool, being able to put on GB kit. So then my next aim was to try and qualify for that, so I managed to kind of get into that. I realised that I wasn't fast enough to actually be very competitive. Like I went out to Chicago, I think I maybe came like 17th or 18th, and the lady that won did something like a 36-minute 10k. For me at that point, I was like, that's just, I can't see how I can get that fast. And obviously my swim was terrible compared to theirs. I moved up to 7.3 distance, heard people talk about Kona, and even though at that point Ironman still seemed slightly ridiculous, thought, I'm definitely gonna have to give it a go at some point. Then 2017, did my first Ironman out in Lanzarote. It was a bit of a disaster. I over-carb loaded and also took on like too much seawater, so I was sick in the swim, sick coming out the swim, had to make a couple of loose stops on the bike, had a massive bonk at about 140k. Then coming onto the run was basically like, how many Portaloos can I find? Because it was really just horrendous. Not the best first experience, but fortunately it's only gone up from there with Ironman. I was lucky enough that I managed to get a roll down Kona place, so sort of headed out to Kona that year and really just wanted to have a better Ironman than Lanzarote, which it was. Then the aim has just been get faster, get better and try and win. So Will, my coach, Will Clark's my coach. You may know him, he's a big dog Olympian. That's not, I said he's a big dog. Yep. I was being deadly serious. So I actually found him on the street, randomly picked him up. I was searching for a triathlon coach. He'd put out a tweet saying he was looking to start doing some coaching. He wanted some athletes. Had a chat with him over the phone. Must be, I think 2015, because I think it was Chicago. 4 to 5 years ago. Had this chat, seemed like we got on quite well. He clearly has like lots of experience of different coaches. I think like the thing that I found the best about working with him is that obviously having a pretty full-time job, there's quite a lot of flex that I've had to have around if I've had a very busy work day, or if something's changed, or if I've got like a dinner in the evening or things like that. And he's so responsive to be able to change stuff. As long as I give him a bit of notice of like, oh actually I'm not going to be able to do tonight's session, can you move it around or like readjust things. He's kept it really interesting. I think if I was trying to do my own training, I'd probably stick to like the same sets day in, day out, and it would get very boring. Whereas he's managed to mix it all up. I get like lots of different swim sets, lots of different bike run sets, everything. So we have like a kind of a general structure of the week that is kind of similar, but he'll kind of mix it up depending on how close races are, what races I've got, etc. The other thing that is good about him is he also gets that I need a bit of downtime every now and then, also that I quite like to party, as does he. So it just works well in terms of he gets that if I've had, you know, a night out with friends and I'm a bit hungover, I'm probably not going to go and run like a 2.5 hour run, or if I am, it's not going to be any kind of pace. So that works pretty well. I'd say he's now like one of my good friends, so it's kind of slightly different dynamic in that we can also just chat. For me, having a coach has probably been like, it's the thing that's allowed me to improve the most, but it's also from a kind of time management and efficiency point of view, like not having to think about training. I just have to look at my diary, be like, what have I got in today, and I just have to do it. So it makes life very easy. Excuse me. Don't critique my tea mixing skills, thank you. Tell me off for my tea strength. And then it means it mixes itself as you pour it. I've not actually had that much downtime over the past few years. I've got a few things that I love doing. Like I really enjoy cooking, mainly because I like eating, but I enjoy the process of creating meals. I've been getting quite into baking bread actually. I think there's nothing better than the smell of fresh bread in the morning. I used to be really musical. When I was at my parents' recently, like my mum's got a piano and I was a bit like, oh, maybe I'll just see if I can remember how to play at all. I really wasn't very good, but actually I found it really therapeutic. Again, it's like using your brain in a slightly different way. It's quite relaxing. Again, picking up something that I'm not very good at and trying to get better is quite fun. I love reading. I used to read so much. Definitely haven't done that much of it over the last few years. Something that I'm hoping now with a bit more time I can kind of get back into. And then yeah, seeing my friends obviously, but I do a lot of that with my training now. I kind of combine social training. The friends that I've got that aren't necessarily triathletes, they would still be like-minded in that like they're very ambitious, they've got really clear sort of life goals of where they want to get to. I've kind of weeded them out a bit. Now we're getting into the deep stuff. What is my life goal? I think I've got some sort of short-term goals and some longer-term goals. In terms of next year, let's look at that. My main goal is I'd really like to qualify for Kona, which kind of through doing that, I pretty much have to win or come second at an Ironman, so that would be the other goal. It's going to be really tough. I think the new qualifying system for pros makes it that bit harder. I think that's quite good, you know. I think I'd only want to go to Kona if I thought I could actually get in the top 10. Clearly I've got to make some pretty significant improvements to be able to get there with the kind of additional rest and recovery that I'm going to have now. I'm hoping that I'll see some quite good improvement. I'm also not naive enough to think that that's going to come overnight. Like I know that's going to take time. It might take 12 months, it might take 2-3 years. And I'd quite like to just go and see some new places, doing some 70.3s, try and podium at some 70.3 distances, and get a marathon PB would be my next, like as part of an Ironman. Basically, if I keep running with really speedy runners, hopefully I'll get really fast. I think longer term, so I'd like to get to a point where I guess triathlon can be more of my career in terms of I can actually make some money from it somehow.